All right, everybody, listen, in order for you to hear me, I'm going to take this off. The beauty is I'm out here by myself, so um, I need to make sure you can hear me. So, listen, um, I'm going to start it off this way because I think it's important. Um, I'm actually tired of us misquoting some of our civil rights leaders. For example, Dr. King. For the last week, he's just been totally misquoted. And notice I'm talking about Dr. King, but I'm not only standing in front of the Civil Rights Institute and across the street from this 16th Street Baptist Church, but I'm also starting and having this conversation with you in front of the Fred Shuttlesworth Monument, who is my personal hero, and I'll get back to him in a minute. But Dr. King, when you think about protests, I think when you think about organizing, I think it's important to actually understand the rules. An organized protest for Dr. King is 4 important points. 1 is identifying the injustice. 2 is negotiation. 3 is self-purification, and 4 is direct action. And I think if you're going to join a movement, you have to understand organizing, but you also have to understand strategy, and you also have to understand the rules. And we do a good job of identifying the injustice, but we rarely do the second and third step, which is negotiation, which is extremely important because you have to engage people who are responsible for policy, i.e. Elected officials. But you also have to understand self-purification, which is a fancy way of saying what's your personal discipline. Personal discipline in a movement and in protesting is the opposite of destruction just because, looting just because, vandalism just because, burning just because. And then if negotiations don't work, if the discipline is not getting the attention you need, you then move to direct action. Many of us want to skip. We want to identify the injustice and jump to direct action. But if you don't negotiate or have the self-discipline to maintain yourself, then you're in a position not to get the results you want for justice. So, I say that because we're walking through Kelly Ingram Park right now. And there have been so many rallies in this park lately. And I think that haven't only been peaceful, but people understand the importance of why we're here and the history and significance of what this park can do. Now we're in a position where we've had total civil unrest in our city, and we must respond to that. And so what I want to do is appeal directly to you, the citizen, the resident, the possible activist, the possible organizer. Know your rules. Watch your step. I'm telling my man with the camera to watch your step. But you should watch your step too, by the way. I think that fits here. We have to be diligent in our ability to identify the injustice. In this case, the killing of George Floyd. We have to understand what we're negotiating for on behalf of justice, not only to his family and to his legacy and his life, but negotiating on behalf of police reform. We then should have the discipline to have the self-purification to remain steady as it relates to doing what we can do to draw attention to our cause, to not get out of line, to make sure we don't get distracted from our cause. And then there's direct action. Direct action can give you the results you need too, if you yield to the self-purification as well as the negotiation. And these are the 4 things needed as it relates to a successful protest and organizing. Thank you.